Well, good morning. Thanks very much, Will. Thanks everyone for being on our call this morning. I wanted to talk today about the urgent need for Doug Ford to step up and to respond to what we're hearing in hotspots like Peel Region from Mayors Patrick Brown and Bonnie Crombie, and from Dr. Lowe. We've all seen over the last number of days that the Delta variant, as it's called, is causing some concern in places like Peel. And we've heard in media or seen in media reports this morning that there seems to be a desire to adjust the vaccine rollout so that those living in hotspots can receive both doses as soon as possible. I am urging Doug Ford this morning, do not delay. Nobody in this province wants to see a fourth wave, of course. Everybody has been suffering and sacrificing now for well more than a year. We feel, all of us, people right across this province, that we are much closer to the end of this ordeal than the beginning. But it is important to urgently adjust the vaccine rollout so that those living in hotspots, particularly because of the concerns expressed about the Delta variant, that the vaccine rollout be deployed in a way so that hotspots are receiving, I will say, additional support, additional resources, and additional vaccines. So again, I just want to urge Doug Ford, don't delay, don't dither. We've seen this movie before. We know that delay causes concerns. We know that delays potentially cause spikes in cases. Nobody in Peel and nobody in Ontario wants to see this occur again. So please move as urgently as you possibly can. Do exactly what Mayors Crombie and Brown are calling for, and Dr. Lowe is calling for, and let's make sure that we truly crush this virus once and for all. Get all the doses of vaccines out right across the hotspots and beyond, and get our province through this to the other side. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, just a reminder to please raise your hand or write to the chat if you have a question. And the first question is Colin DeMello from CTV Toronto.
Good morning, Mr. Del Duca. I'm wondering what percentage of vaccines should go to these priority hotspots. Should it be similar to what we saw before, 2 weeks of 50% going there, or do you have another kind of figure or combination in mind?
No, so look, I don't have a specific number. I know that when the 50% number was used a number of weeks ago, that seemed to be effective. I think the most important thing would be for Doug Ford's government to listen to what Dr. Lowe has been asking for specifically around the numbers. Dr. Lowe, we've seen, has been heroic right through this pandemic, so he would have a very strong sense of exactly what's happening on the ground in Peel Region and would know exactly what kind of allocation he would need in order to prepare appropriately or deal appropriately with the Delta variant.
Follow-up?
Thank you. Thank you. And just thank you. And just on the reopening, there have been some suggestions that the government could move up the reopening, from next Monday to perhaps the 11th of June, this Friday, as an example. I'm wondering if you feel, or it seems like the province is in the best position to be able to move up that reopening date. Should they move that date up if all of the conditions kind of align? And how much advance notice do you think they need to be giving businesses?
Well, let me start with the second part of the question first. I think particularly businesses in tourism and hospitality, restaurants and so forth, I think in particular need a lot of notice about what they can expect to be happening. My sense and what I've seen and heard directly is that most are assuming it's going to be June the 14th and they're planning for June the 14th. As to whether or not that should be moved up by a couple of days, again, I think whatever the science table, working closely with public health units across this province and those at the central table, should be making the ultimate call about whether we can move it up by 2 or 3 days. And I say all of this knowing how agonizing it is with the warmer weather that we're getting. People want to be with their friends and family. They want to be through to the other side of this. But really, we are so close to being able to open up gradually and responsibly. There's really nothing that we should be doing to put this at greater risk. Having said that, if the science table and the public health units think and can give the advice about whether we can move it up by a couple of days, that's great. But I would strongly urge whatever we're going to do to give those businesses who've been hardest hit as much advance notice as possible. I would also say it's really important, and I know we're all focused on the reopening for businesses and for life, that we want to go back to a new normal. But I would also say there's a ton of work that we still need to do, that Doug Ford still needs to do, to make sure that come September, which might seem like it's a long way away, but it's not. It's only 3.5 months, give or take. that Ontario's publicly funded schools are ready for a safe reopening. And so while we're very focused on the next 2 days for the first phase of the general reopening, we can't afford to have Doug Ford go back to sleep when it comes to schools for this coming September.
Okay, the next question is from Ian Sheriff Scott from iPolitics.
Hi, Stephen. Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm wondering if you and your party feel like you're in a good position heading into this summer with the election on the horizon.
Well, look, I've said this all the way through, Ian. I think we've made tremendous progress as a party over the past 12 months, despite the challenges of the pandemic. We've nominated now close to 40 candidates, more than 60% of whom are female. We've cleared off $10 million in debt left over from the 2018 campaign. We've made membership free in our party. We're the only main political party in Ontario to have done so. And we've launched the most comprehensive and the most open and transparent platform consultation process in our party's history. Having said that, with 12 months to go, there is a ton of work that Ontario Liberals still need to do to earn the trust of the people of Ontario. We are very focused on that. So the team is working really, really hard, and I will continue to work relentlessly to make sure Doug Ford's first term in office is his last, so we collectively can get our province back on track.
Follow up?
Yeah, thanks. And so I'm wondering if we can expect to hear about your party's plan for long-term care this summer. With the Auditor General's report, the Commission's report, a lot has been, put out there about where we need to, what direction we need to go in with long-term care. So I'm wondering when we can expect to hear something from the Liberals on this.
Yeah, look, it's such a pressing concern that I know people right across this province have. We know it's been an issue for a number of years. We know that Doug Ford made a tough situation dramatically worse during the pandemic. And to your point, we now have, from the Canadian Armed Forces to the Commission's report to others who have expertise in this area, who are giving advice publicly about what needs to be done. The very first platform consultation virtual town hall that we, as Ontario Liberals, did a number of weeks ago was on the notion of fixing long-term care. We had over between 600 and 700 people who were on that Zoom call. We were on there for 3 or 4 hours, myself and the platform co-chairs, Michael Coteau and Kate Graham. There's such emotion, there's such passion, there's such dedication, not just from Ontario Liberals, but Ontarians generally speaking, about long-term care, about elder care. So as for when we will specifically release our long-term care platform, Ian, I can't tell you the exact date, but I can tell you as soon as it's ready, we'll want to get it out there into the public domain, so that Ontarians have a clear sense of how we will resolve this, working together once and for all.
Okay, I don't see any other questions on the line. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.